If you believe teamwork wins games, you're already thinking like an Arc Raider. In Arc Raiders, you and your squad brave the face of a future Earth where killer machines known as Arc roam the surface, and they always shoot on sight. Rely on your squad, fight the Arc, and extract before the time runs out. Build your loadout, then loot the Rust Belt for materials and treasures to grow your stash and level up. But it's not just you guys up there. Other Raiders have their eyes on the same prize. Every run is pressure. Every decision is a play call. Do you push forward or extract while you're ahead? Team up. Trust no one. Make the right call when it matters most. Arc Raiders is on sale now. Available for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC.
Rated T for teens.
Hey, Dan here from Heed the Call. You know how in football, timing is everything? You miss your window by a second, and the play's already gone. The holidays are the same way. Everything happens fast, and if you're not ready, you're scrambling at the last minute. That's why Amazon Prime is the real MVP this season.
With Prime's fast, free shipping, you can make those last-minute calls look effortless. Forgot your Secret Santa gift? Need something for that office party? Prime's got your back, helping you go from uh-oh to all set faster than a 2-minute drill.
Absolutely, Mark, because Prime isn't just about getting things fast. It's about making sure you never miss your shot. It turns that last-minute scramble into a smooth holiday win. So this season, remember, Prime's fast delivery has your back during the holidays, especially when it's down to the wire and can't wait another minute. Last-minute gifts delivered. It's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to shop now.
It's it's a big win. It's a divisional game. Obviously, those are huge, especially late in the season when when you're tied at the top there in the standings. So yeah, it's a big game, but we treat every game the same. They're all important.
Oh, baby. These are the ones you remember. And for Sam Darnold, that's the moment you've been chasing since you entered the National Football League. Darnold and the Seahawks wipe out a 16-point fourth quarter deficit and stun the LA Rams on a walk-off touchdown and 2-point conversion in overtime, 38-37, to take over control of not just the NFC West, but their own destiny in their goal of being the number one seed in the NFC. A massive, titanic, huge W for the Seahawks, for Sam Darnold, and all of us in the Darnold Hive. What a moment. Dan Hanzus here, Marc Sessler, Conor Orr, Justin Graver on the ones and twos. We're going to get into all the games that are to come in Week 16, but let's start with the first one. It was just played, and by the way, kick off your Thursday Night Football recap with Amazon Prime, your go-to for last-minute holiday gifts. Fast, free shipping keeps you covered during the holidays, especially when time's tight and you can't wait another minute. Holiday wins delivered. It's on Prime. Sessler, it was on Prime, the game of the year.
I mean, what a couple of hours that changed the way that we feel about the NFC. I mean, to watch a Seahawks team that in their first meeting with the Rams were a turnover-laden mess, down 30-14 in the course of 3 minutes and 13 seconds. And when you go back and look at this game, it begins with Rashid Shaheed, the best trade deadline pickup in the entire league, with a 58-yard punt return that I think sparked the flame for Darnold, the Seahawks defense. Minutes later, Darnold throws a 26-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Barner, and then we get the weirdest 2-point conversion of the year, and it takes off from there. But it really felt to me that Seattle, all the narratives felt set against a Rams team they can't fell, they can't beat, that understands how to outmaneuver them, out-scheme them, and instead they were resilient, and it does deserve it. Sam Darnold deserves a lot of credit because he made key throws in key moments, but this entire team changed how we feel about this NFC. And there's so many moving parts to this game, but that moment with Shaheed, I thought, was the fire that began the comeback.
I think, too, we talked about it last week on the show with Indianapolis and the way that they played JSN. There's a lot of brackets, palm coverage, all different kinds of stuff to try to prevent Jackson Smith-Njigba from taking over the game. He was totally silent in the first half of this one. And I think what led Sam Darnold into a dark place was attempting to throw through that and attempting to still thread the needle through a really great Rams defense. And what's wild is he comes out the other side and does it, and still is able to make these tight window throws after not being able to do it in the middle of the game. And I'm just fascinated how this offense works. It continues to find a way. It continues to generate big plays, even though the odds are against them at all times. And wow, I mean, just what a performance by the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, the Darnold side of it is fascinating. And we talked about it going into this game. What a huge inflection point this was in his season, really in his career, because if he comes into this game and plays poorly, and again, that Shaheed punt return is at 30-14. When he catches that ball and begins his return, it's 30-14 with about 8 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. And at that point, they had punted away. They had gotten a stop, a 3-and-out of the Rams. After Darnold threw what looked to be the knife through the heart interception in the red zone, his second of the game. His first was taken back inside the 5-yard line and immediately punched in for a touchdown. His second came when they were trying to get it in the end zone. So there were those type of Darnold interceptions, the killer Darnold turnovers. The crowd was booing. It just felt like everything was the way I think a lot of people expected. And if you were on social media, people were getting their shots in on Darnold. So I thought it just showed, while he didn't do it alone, because it was the defense getting 4 stops in a row to get this thing into overtime, including 3-and-outs in a row. It was Shaheed sparking the whole thing. It was JSN catching fire and becoming that dude. It was Kenneth Walker keeping the offense afloat by having his first truly big game of the year. But Darnold, with his back against the wall, with a reputation for wilting in a big moment, stepping up, and after they go to overtime, they're tied at 30, and they have, what I thought was a shaky end to the fourth quarter as well. After their final touchdown of regulation, the Seahawks had a couple chances in the final minutes because the Rams offense couldn't get going. Mevis misses a field goal, and you don't know what's going to happen after Stafford takes the Rams down the field. In another brilliant Stafford game, by the way. He throws for 457 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a final 58-yard touchdown to Puka Nacua, who went 12 for 225 and 2 touchdowns. We'll get to Puka later. So they have a 7-point lead, the Rams, in overtime. And I think a lot of people expected the big Darnold mistake there, but instead he takes him right down the field. He throws the prettiest pass anyone throws all game to Cooper Kupp down the right sideline to set him up in the red zone. And then he makes the touchdown pass to JSN and then makes a beautiful throw on the 2-point conversion. It was nails for Darnold, and it really changes. And even as a guy that was like the queen bee of the Darnold hive, bitch, like it changes how I feel about Darnold, because I could say, all right, now that I've seen it, it can happen in January, because I kind of needed to see it, and now we have.
You know, we like in the post-game interview, and I know that Darnold is not an electric quote, and we all get that. And that doesn't bother me at all. But there's a calm to him, because they kept asking, like, how did this happen? How do you do this? And it's like, well, we practice these situations all week. Like, and I thought what he showed tonight was you're sinking deeper and deeper into the void in the black hole of a typical Darnold meltdown, and he worked his way out of it. And I think that the team believes in him, and he made key throws. And while it may change what you feel about Darnold or I feel about Darnold, it may feel what Darnold feels about Darnold in these key situations, because he's a human being too. And I think he seems a little affected sometimes by like the drama around him in terms of the game drama. And I thought tonight he authored something that was so special. It was the most signature game. It was probably the best TNF game I can ever recall in my life, with the highest stakes. And he's the hero of it. And there was a crazy, at some point we can talk about this other 2-point conversion, which was not his best throw of the night, but yet it worked out well for him. But like, what a wild evening.
That. First of all, the Seahawks, this is some crazy shit, crazy stats coming out of this game. The Seahawks went 3 for 3 on 2-point conversions in this game. They also had a punt return for a touchdown, and the Rams missed a field goal. All those things had to happen to get to 38-37. The Rams lose this game, despite, as we said, Stafford throwing for 457, 3 touchdowns. They don't turn the ball over. They end up with 26 first downs, 581 total yards, and like I said, no turnovers. And they still lose the game. But it was on that second 2-point conversion that, that's what people are talking about. Darnold drops back to pass. This is when they had gotten it to what? They had gotten it to 30-28. And Darnold drops back to pass. He swings it. It's right down the line, but it's a little bit backwards. They had the replays that showed it. The pass gets knocked away, bounces into the end zone, and Zach Charbonnet, just as a matter of habit, picks it up. And then as the Rams are getting ready to receive the ensuing kickoff, that's when the officials get involved. And good job by the Amazon Rules guy. What's his name again, Justin? Can you look that up? He kind of flags it first, and then then we learn Terry McAulay. We learn that actually was a live ball because it was fumbled, and there's no holy roller thing or anything like that. Sean McVay, who's got to be dying right now, was asked about this play after the game.
I've never quite seen anything like what happened on the 2-point conversion where you're lined up to kickoff. Then they say it's a fumble because they had the clear and obvious recovery. Now you tack it on, you make it a 30-30 game. Very interesting. Didn't get a clear explanation of everything that went on just because of some of the timing of it. They were trying to be able to do that, but that's the thing that I've said. I've never seen anything or never been a part of anything like that, and I've grown up around this game. I'm not making excuses. We don't do that. I don't believe in that. It doesn't move us forward, but we do want clarity and an understanding of the things that we can do to minimize that when we rejected the 2-point conversion.
He didn't blink once there. I was checking that. So now it seems like it was officiated correctly. I think maybe we'll find out tomorrow it wasn't, but it still seems a little wonky. And I also want to point out, and this comes on the same day that Puka Nacua made a lot of headlines, even his brothers making headlines. At one point in the ESPN stack, Nacua apologizes for, I guess, promising to do a offensive touchdown celebration with his streamer idiot friends. And then at the bottom of the ESPN stack is Puka Nacua's brother steals a Lakers car. Wild day for the Nacuas.
What's going on with this family?
225 yards. But also the officiating, which led to another Puka tweet after the game, took 4 points off the board for the Rams when they call a illegal man downfield on Los Angeles when they're at the 1-yard line that wiped out a tight end touchdown and led to a Mevis field goal. So 4-point swing there. And then this 2-point conversion, I would be frustrated, Connor, if I was a Los Angeles Rams player, coach, fan. I get it.
For sure. The 2-point conversion thing is interesting, too, because while it's correct by the letter of the law, how many times have we seen plays that, while not exactly like this, a player will pick up a ball just out of habit, right? And it maybe it's in the middle of the field, it's like a fumble, it's something else. And now all of these plays are going to be looked at under a brighter microscope because I don't know about you guys, that's the first time I've seen a player just casually pick up a ball and then was awarded the forward yardage into the goal. I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen it like that is those weird plays where someone drops the ball before they get to the goal line, and then you have to watch to see does someone actually pick it up when it's just sitting there? I've seen it happen before, but never in that instance. And this is the weirdest night of 2-point conversions, Mark, in NFL history, because in addition to what happened there, which is the new holy roller, we also have the first game in the history of the National Football League that ended on a 2-point conversion in overtime. So
wow.
There was it's one of those games, and it happens more often than you would think. It kind of happened last Thursday night with the Bucs, where for the team that won to win, it feels like 14 different things had to happen. And if one of those things don't happen, that team doesn't win. But that's what happened for the Seahawks, and it has massive ramifications on the rest of the season potentially. Yeah,
I think tonight kind of symbolized this off the hook, unhinged, slightly drunken regular season that we're enjoying. It's enjoyable. It's very different. It doesn't feel like the same old thing. I will say, for how weird that 2-point conversion was, and I texted you guys this, that I went to NFL Jesus to be like, how did they describe this? And it says at the end of a long paragraph, 2-point conversion attempt. Zach Charbonnet rushes left end. Attempt succeeds. Rushes left end. Like, they don't have a descriptor for it. They didn't have like whoever writes these things, the bots, like they didn't have a descriptor for it, so it's very unusual.
someone's gonna win or lose like fantasy semifinal matchups because of Zach Charbonnet just picking up a damn football there. Oh. I mean, just you cannot make it up. Any other thoughts about this absolutely insane, beautiful game that we watched tonight?
The only thing is that whoever gets the 5th seed probably is going to wind up playing the Bucs or Panthers in the playoffs. So a bye is still better than that, but that's your punishment for probably losing this game if you don't catch up.
My only thought here was that I watched that 2-point series over and over and over again. And it's fascinating, too, because we talked about a Darnold glow-up game. I think this was also a Clint Kubiak glow-up game because what you had was you displayed a formation and then Sean McVay saw that he had Emmanuel Forbes one-on-one with JSN, so he calls a timeout. Then you display a different formation where you invert 2 of the wide receivers. Cooper Kupp goes in motion. It shows you that they're going to play man. Then you don't like that, so you call a timeout. And then you have a third play call where you totally flip the formation, and then you bang Forbes, and you know he's going to come late down on the tight end. And I just thought that was such a great series where it's like genius against genius, and you're just matching wits play after play. Such a cool moment.
And, just a wild day. I mentioned the whole Nacua family, a wild day. But the Puka Nacua, who let's keep an eye on Puka going forward, by the way. That's all I'm going to say. Let's just keep an eye on what's going on here with Puka. He might.
Like 4 days ago, we wouldn't have said that.
No. It's like one of those things like, are you turning into the new Antonio Brown? Are you? I know the Rams
are. Brothers, stealing cars.
I know the Rams are paying attention to this. Anyway, he issued a statement Thursday apologizing for performing a gesture on an internet live stream. This is what I was referring to earlier. That was, quote, anti-Semitic in nature and perpetuated harmful stereotypes against Jewish people after the game. And I was with Sherman on this a little bit. It's a hot story. It's a national story when a star player gets himself involved with something like this, unfortunate and dumb like this. But we just watched one of the best football games ever played in primetime, and McVay is just trying to process. He's getting hit from all angles on the Nacua situation rather than talking about the game. Here's a little of that.
No, it wasn't a distraction at all. Did you think his play showed that he was distracted? I didn't think so either. He went off today.
He did. Like, none of this is hyperbole. He had one of the best games ever by a wide receiver in this game. He is completely uncoverable. 12 for 225, 2 touchdowns on 16 targets.
Man.
And, I thought, like, it's funny because it was 3 or 4 years ago now, 5 years ago now, that Cooper Kupp took over that season, won the Triple Crown for the Rams. And I was like, I've never seen a guy that just, everyone knows the ball's going to him and they can't stop him. The Bengals could not stop him in that Super Bowl at SoFi. Nacua is like that, but somehow even better. So there's some things he's got to clean up in his life, and McVay got into that as well too, because McVay was not aware. He was getting peppered with questions like, "Hey, were you aware?" He actually tweeted after the game as well, because Nacua made another critical of the officials tweet afterwards, and McVay is just like, "I'm just trying to keep up. I don't even know what you guys are talking about, but if he did, we're gonna." I talked to him earlier, and I'm gonna talk to him again. It's just like a tough night for. No, tough night for the Rams
And one
coach.
quick note, because last week he broke his own personal game record with the 9-181 line, and he went and did it again tonight. I mean, we don't see these things happen like this that often. This is rare.
But he could set an NFL record next week and become the first wide receiver ever. He's tied now with CeeDee Lamb to have 4 consecutive 150 or above yardage games. I think Stafford. It's going to be very hard for Josh Allen to catch Stafford in the MVP race after a night like this. But ultimately, my final thoughts is, again, I don't know what it is. I used to say how like it was weird when I was up in Boston when I was in college, and I was enjoying like the Yankee dynasty, and I was spoiled, and the Boston sports scene was in a deep fallow period, and they had a beloved Boston Bruins hockey player named Ray Bourque, who went to the Colorado Avalanche and won a Stanley Cup. He never won one in Boston. And so he was so beloved in Boston that they threw a parade for Ray Bourque in Boston in 2001, I believe it was. I kind of understand that sentiment when I'm watching Sam Darnold and rooting for him. It's not apples to apples, but it's like I should be mad that Darnold is having this moment and that he should have been this for the Jets, but I'm just happy for him because I know he's a good guy. He's a mild-mannered guy, and he's tough as hell. He has been through so much shit in his career and dealt with so much heartache, and he's had his struggles. To have this moment tonight, I would love to see it be a springboard to something even greater. And it can happen, man. We saw it happen with Eli Manning and a bunch of other quarterbacks
Joe
that
Flacco.
I think were Joe Flacco, guys that I don't even think are as talented as Sam Darnold. Let's see if this is a springboard to something really special. But even if it's not, he has tonight. So.
And it's like, I think it felt like he was dismissed by the Vikings, which is, you could turn into a slight. He's on the better team. He's in a better place on a complete team with a coach that is an obsessive psycho ready to take the Seahawks the distance. And I think Darnold is in the right place at the right time.
One last note. San Francisco 49ers win out, they win the NFC West. Like the Rams all of a sudden could be staring at third place. They're good. They'll be fine. They'll be in the playoffs, but the Niners get the Seahawks. If the Niners win, I believe it's week 18 too. If the Niners win the next 2 weeks and then take out the Seahawks in week 18, they take it. All right. That's the recap. Yes, Justin.
Really quick before we close the recap, I just wanted to address something that was sent
Titans
to us
update
via YouTube comments, subreddit posts, tweets. All kinds of people are coming out of the woodwork to say that Marc Sessler cursed the Rams.
Oh no! Oh, that's right. What was it again? They weren't
I
gonna.
said that it was
Oh no!
3 truths and a lie, and one of my truths, these are things I felt in my heart, that the Rams would not lose until at least 5 months after Justin's May wedding.
Oh, we should have known.
Oh, God.
And that,
Oh, was
literally,
that why you were mad on text when the Seahawks were coming back?
No, I kind of felt myself rooting for them I want one great team, but by the end of the game, well, also, you know why I'm annoyed? Because, here's the thing.
At one point, I wrote, here's the text.
No, you wrote,
how is this a
LOL.
one-score game? Mark writes, this is annoying. It's like the game was getting really good. This is annoying. I said, LOL, come on, Mark. I find myself rooting for the Rams.
Well, so here's the thing. Then, just because you could text anything on the planet and Justin would be like, ha ha, thumbs up, because it's Dan. And then Justin chimes in, throwing like a bow and arrow at me. And it's like, you stay out of it. Wait,
what did you write, Justin?
That's real.
I said a 30-14 blowout just got interesting, and Mark is annoyed. LOL.
Yeah, and no one asks, well, what's the context of why you're annoyed? Oh, you don't, we just assume it's why. But it's like, no, it's for some other
I may have lost 3
completely
truths
different
and a lie, Mark, but I know my Marky. You this was in the back of your mind. You had that Rams going all the way in your back pocket.
I wanted, I really did say, I thought they had the chance tonight to establish themselves as the NFL's only great team. And then naturally, it all changes within 25 minutes, and we're back here. They're tied 30-30.
Isn't it funny? The Rams are going to be okay, but they might not have the number 1 seed, and that's stunning. Anyway, remember, Amazon Prime isn't just about speed. It's your secret weapon for making sure last-minute gifts arrive on time, keeping the holidays stress-free. Forgot a present for tonight's party or a friend across town? Prime gets it there fast, turning those uh-oh moments into smooth wins. This season, you can count on Prime to deliver when you need it most. Last-minute gifts delivered. It's on Prime. All right, let's take a break and dig into all the Week 16 to come. All right, we are back. Oh, man, did Sam Darnold blow it or what? Okay. Now, we're recording this before the game, so let me go the other way now.
Right.
Oh, baby, Darnold time!
Got it covered.
Any other things we want to cover? Oh, I got one. Geez, I knew Puka Nacua was going through some things, but that was unexpected. Anything else? Mark, you got one?
Matthew Stafford, pantless, fourth quarter, also unexpected.
But impressive.
It was.
Wait, let me get this. Ooh, not impressive at all. Expected more. Okay, enough. All right, so Thursday Night Football in the rear view. Let's now dig into the rest of the games. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a come down. I wouldn't say this is the highest level week, but there's been worse too. I know Sessy was belly aching a little bit about it on the text chain. I counted 5 games on this schedule where it mattered for both teams. And once you get to week 16, Sessy, like you could kind of sign off on that. And it's also, to be real, Sessy, like as a guy who's obsessed, you being obsessed with getting rid of as many teams as possible, this is where the bill comes due in week 16 and then especially 17 and 18.
Last week was essentially our Christmas, and this is like a child asking for more gifts the week after Christmas, and it's like, settle down with your entitlement. So that's me playing the child on that text thread. I will say what stood out to me, though, was this wasn't, because they've done a great job in the NFL where it's like there aren't a lot of games like this, but this is the first week where I spotted a rash of inconsequential team versus inconsequential team versus almost any other week this season. So it's not a complaint. It was an observation. And a lot of them are stacked in that little early 1 o'clock window where you can take a little winter's nap during that maybe.
Okay. Felt like a complaint, but that's fine.
Well, text verse, inner world.
All right, so let's get into it. By the way, Saturday games are back. So you're going to get a couple Saturday games, which we'll get into later. I think we have one more Thursday night game after this next week. So the schedule, it's doing that mutation that it does late in the year. So let's get into it. Let's start this week with the late games, though. And we'll start with a dandy. The number 10 Jacksonville Jaguars, 10-4, playing high-level football. I mean, both sides of the ball. And they got a little Jets tax last week. I saw some people bubbling about the power rankings that the Jags didn't get as big a jump. It's not their fault that the Jets are shittiest. That's fair. But this is the stuff that I look forward to. Let's see what happens when Trevor Lawrence, who's now, I guess, the idealized version of what he was supposed to be coming out of, insert college here, Clemson?
Clemson.
Yeah, nailed it. I know ball. I know college ball too. The ball knows all, including the amateur game. Let's now send
literally
him,
making money at this point, but yeah.
Let's send him. Yes, let's send him to Mile High, and let's see if this whole Trevor Lawrence is fixed now under Liam Cohn narrative holds against Patrick Surtain and the fierce pass rush of the Denver Broncos. 12-2, 11-game winning streak. Kugler and Daryl Johnston on the call. A little shocker there. But this is a Fox game. That never makes sense to me. But let's get into it. Sessy, beautiful start to the late window. We're all going to be tuned into this one.
You said it last week that this run that Trevor Lawrence is on has been impressive, but the opponents haven't been impressive in the last couple of weeks. So this is that ideal test. I go back to that Texans game when they had Davis Mills in there, and Lawrence was kept safe for most of that game, and then they unleashed like 6 sacks and 20 pressures, the Texans, to win that game. And it's that kind of thing you want to protect against, because Denver is as good as anyone in the league at rushing the passer and bringing pressure. And that's when Trevor Lawrence becomes something different than he is when he's kept safe. And so it's a great test. It's the test we've been waiting for. And I looked at Denver the same way, where it's like, I want to see you keep passing these tests. And they really did last week. And so it is one of the great games of the year against it. And it kind of reflects a new AFC. Like these are some of our top seeds in the AFC, totally unexpected, new faces. Liam Cohen, Coach of the Year material, same with Sean Payton. I think it's coming at the exact right time to really find out what the Jaguars are.
And let me ask you this, Connor. Are you buying the Trevor Lawrence shapeshifter? Or do you think is something that we should, because let's get ahead of it now, because if you're all in on Lawrence and you think he's fixed, this is the time to say it before this game, not after this game. Do you think it's a new Lawrence and you're just going to see more of the same with him making smart decisions, showing that supreme arm talent, that all the things that made him pegged as a generational talent? Is it all here now, and is it all here for good?
No, and that's not a knock on Lawrence, but I think that our expectations of him were always outsized and misaligned with reality, and that's going back to when he was a freshman at Clemson. And so I think it's kind of impossible to put that on someone. I think he's always going to have brilliant games, and especially when he's seeing the field the right way. And then I think there are going to be games like we're going to come into on Sunday where Vance Joseph is just better at muddying the picture than anybody else. But I'll tell you what, there are two very strange things that I'm watching out for in this one. The first one, Dan, I think is right up your alley. And that's the fact that we have Cam Little, who has hit a 70-yarder in practice going to Mile High, which is the best kicking stadium in the NFL. It's got that extra thin air. Could the game come down to a situation where Liam Cohen tries an abnormally long field goal, longer than the 68 that Cam is capable of hitting? And the second one is, I didn't realize this, these are the two most penalized teams in the NFL. If the referees can back out of this game and allow it to be a good game, do what they do in the Super Bowl, just swallow the whistle like a toddler and let these two teams play football, it's going to be so instructive to us because we can see what these teams actually are beyond the mask of whatever ridiculous call ends up impacting the outcome.
I never would have picked these two teams as the top two penalized teams.
Wild.
And yet they are, and yet I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, and I'm with you. And they are. How about that? We name the team of HTC, and they rip off 11 in a row, and they look the part of a number one seed. Well, I mean, you guys, especially Mark and Connor, I know you guys, it gives you butterflies that we nailed it at this level.
It never felt like a complete unified vision, but I can't deny that you had a vision.
Hey, did you know that Brian Thomas is back? I'm not not the Brian Thomas of the rookie year where it's like, is this guy a sensation? Maybe it was never that, but he was great as a rookie. And then he got disappeared at the beginning of the season. Then he gets hurt, and now he comes back. And he is like so many other guys in this offense for Jacksonville, whether it's ETN or Myers or the tight ends or Brian Thomas, everything's kind of fitting. Everything has found its spot. And Thomas, you could bank on him to make big plays almost every week lately. He's averaging 20 yards per reception now, and in the last few weeks. And, that's a major piece of the offense. And, I think you texted it, Connor, on last Sunday. It's like, nobody's even talking about that Travis Hunter's just gone. Like, the guy that was supposed to revolutionize the Jacksonville Jaguars, the fact that this team and season and offense is taken off, almost aligned when he disappeared with that practice knee injury, is, I guess, notable. I'm not dunking on the guy. I'm just saying the Jags overcame a draft bust, at least in year one.
Yeah. And he really does well against man coverage. He's been crushing man coverage. And while Denver's kind of like a 2-to-1 man to zone rate, he's going to get those opportunities to continue to flex. I think that Joseph will test him in both ways, but to say that he doesn't have the opportunity to take over this game, I think is incorrect. I can't wait to see him again. I mean, just some of the catches, the types of catches that we've seen, I think this could be the third week in a row of 70 plus scrimmage yards for him. And so, hell yeah. I mean, you want to see a player like this come back.
I tend to think he either got healthy or went through like an early season or late summer breakup that he's now over.
Ah,
there you go.
Maybe he went into a haunted house with a lady, and but it went well for him.
As you would know well from your youth.
The opposite way it played out for the old Zeuser. All right, let's pick this game.
Woof.
Come on, Cessy.
Denver at home. I'm buying into the Broncos. I think that they are going to win this in a tight game, like 19-16.
Okay.
28-17 Broncos.
I too say exactly 28-17 Broncos.
Wow,
Justin.
Yeah, I think this game will be won by the team of HTC. So give me the Broncos, but not as high scoring, 20-13.
All right. There you go.
They're doomed.
Potentially. All right, let's move to another solid late game. Big stakes once more. The number 14 Pittsburgh Steelers 8-6, and they could really put a chokehold on the AFC North if they can go to Detroit and knock off the number 13 Lions. The Lions are in the twilight zone for a reason. They're 8-6. They've failed a lot of tests this season, and now they're in a situation where you don't win this game, you're going home. You're done. So they could potentially win all their games and maybe be done. They're in a little bit of trouble now. Nance and Romo on the call. Another 4 o'clock. This is 4:25 tilt. Connor, it's a little bit of a heat check for the Steelers, I feel like. Like the Lions, I expect the Lions to once again, because they're well coached, they're battle tested, they understand what's on the line. Same reason I felt really good about their Dallas matchup is the same reason I feel good about them here. I think they're going to win this game. That said, are you buying in on this post-Fire Tomlin chant Steelers renaissance of the last couple of weeks?
No. It's okay. I think it's just.
I mean, they did murder your Dolphins.
Yeah. I was watching that game, and when you're watching your kids do something that makes you so angry that you physically can't make a facial expression, but you just know you're going to light them up as soon as you get in the car. Like that was my whole posture during that Dolphins game. And I was like, I'm just going to pull an Unforgivable and just bash this team with a snow globe and roll it up into a bloody rug. And that's what I did. So,
I don't want to, was that the film with Diane Lane?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
Boy. Oh baby.
Yeah. Was it Richard Gere just bashes her,
Gere.
the guy
Spoiler
that she's
alert.
having the affair with a snow globe and fucking kills him. Yeah.
I don't think.
Is she having an affair with like a sort of swarthy
It's like a hot
Central
book dealer.
American or something?
Handsome,
Yeah.
yes, a handsome Latino man from the city, and she's
artist.
taking the Metro North in artist. She's taking the Metro North in from Irvington or some similar Westchester, Tony area, and gets into a passionate love affair with this handsome, brooding young artist in, I want to say, the West Village.
Yeah.
Gere finds out. And by the way, off the charts performance from Diane Lane.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, off the charts Lane performance, late period Lane.
Peak window for her.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like when Tom Brady had his second peak, right? And some people were saying gradual decline, and then it was like, oh wait, here's another peak. Lane in that film. Anyway,
Unfaithful, it was called. Sorry,
Unfaithful. Gere finds out. Spoiler alert. Kills that guy's ass.
Can I just tell you, I have like the dumbest, very quick story about this, but when I was at Syracuse, I don't know why I had seen that, but like it'd been on TV a bunch of times. I think you just on it and you watch it. And so Dennis Quaid is at Syracuse because he's playing the head coach in the Express, the Ernie Davis movie. And so I'm in the front row of the Carrier Dome and I'm like blackout drunk. It's during a game and he's going to go to midfield. And I'm yelling, I'm like, Dennis! 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 And I finally get him to turn around and I just go, you were fucking awesome and unfaithful, bro. And then,
Oh no!
and then he just looks at me like, what? Like it
Brutal.
hit me like, not even that moment because I'm so drunk, I don't care. I'm like high-fiving everyone like, yeah, I just said something to him. And then like 3 days later, I was like, holy shit, that was Richard Gere.
Pre-TNC right
yeah.
there.
Talk football.
I was going to say, I know that we've gone too long because I saw Justin take a rip of his vape pen during
sorry.
that.
Anyway.
Last unfaithful take, right when that film was out or had come to DVD or whatever, and I saw it, it was right when I had started an internship at Major League Baseball, and I was living I was post college, first year out of college, and I was still living at my parents' house, and I would take the Metro North from Tarrytown into Grand Central Station. And I remember after seeing the film, just kind of looking around as like a 22-year-old and be like, what's going on this train, this Metro North?
Well, you
There's
could be the artist in the hot Central American artist on that. I saw that in the theater.
Living in
That's
my
why.
childhood bedroom with a bunk bed, with my brother. Yeah,
Oh, it's
I don't think
romantic.
so. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Where are we? We're
Lions, Steelers.
Lions, Steelers. Anyway, so we're not buying in on the Steelers. I just want to say that I have to give the Steelers credit. As we talked about, the Dolphins I never bought into. Connor, I don't understand how you can get so mad about the Dolphins because we knew what was going to happen in the cold on Monday night. But that's over. I kind of expect the Steelers to put up a fight in this game. I don't think they get blown out, but I like the Lions. Where do you come down on this, Mark?
I like the Lions at home in a season-defining spot. I think you can run on the Steelers. I think Detroit's going to get back to what they do and punish you in the dome.
Couldn't run on the Steelers Monday night. Devon Achane couldn't.
I think Detroit can. I think Detroit can, and I think they will. TJ Watt right now it's up in the air if he's going to appear. It sounds like it's not necessarily a green light on any level. And you've got to fend off what I think Aaron Rodgers coming off his best game. If they can get Aaron Rodgers back to what he's been for 88% of this season, you've got a great chance to win this game.
So, all right. So what are you saying then?
I think the Lions are going to win.
But do you think the Steelers are going to compete?
Yeah, I think it's like
okay.
I don't think it's going to be like a wipeout, but there's always a better chance of Detroit going off like at home. And honestly, if you look at big chunks of that Rams game before the end happened the way it did, like their offense was on fire for 30 minutes in that game.
This is what I predict in this game because, yes, there is a runaway and hide aspect to the Lions here. That could definitely be how it plays out because the stakes are through the roof for them. Right now, they have a 35% chance of making the playoffs at 8-6. So without a doubt, the season's over, you would think, if they fall at home here. But there's a reason why they keep losing. They're like the Chiefs of the NFC, where it's like you keep expecting them to lock in and find that gear and be the Lions that you thought they were going to be in August, and they're not. So I think it's a close game. I think it's going to be a very nervous Ford Field crowd in the second half, but I think they come out on top.
They need to basically win their division to get into the playoffs. Like if you kind of look at how things sit right now, I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
I just don't see how. I mean, this is a big Dan Campbell game, but your skill position players have such an advantage. And Pittsburgh, especially in the second half, struggles when you have speed and you have like functional speed like the Lions do that has that toughness factor attached to it. If I'm him, the whole first half, I'm just making the Steelers run sideline to sideline. Like I'm getting the ball to Jamison Williams quick, Jahmyr Gibbs quick, and I'm just tiring these guys out so that I can hammer them in the second half. This has got to be the Dan Campbell game plan here.
All right, let's take a break and we will get deeper into Week 16. All right, we are back. Let's hit these Saturday games. Let's start with the really good one. Talk about, do the Lions need to win the NFC North to make the playoffs? Well, here's the problem. They are 2 games in the loss column behind both the Packers, 9-4-1, and the Bears, 10-4. And assuming it doesn't end in another tie for the Packers, one of these teams is going to come out of Week 16 still at 4 losses. So winning that division, I don't know about that, Cessy. It would take an epic collapse in concert with the Lions win-out scenario.
It's not going to happen.
That's why they're 35%, the Lions. So it's the number 9 Packers at the number 8 Bears. Beautiful game. Burkhardt and Brady on the call for Fox. Before we get into the game, Connor, a little breaking news. This is legitimate breaking news this week out of Chicago, or should I say Indiana. Take it away.
Yeah, we, myself and a fellow coworker of ours, Gilberto Manzano, our guy from NFL.com. He works with me over at the MMQB now. We reported on the Bears and eventually came out in a letter from Kevin Warren to season ticket holders that they're exploring territory in Northwest Indiana.
Wow.
So
can I ask you a question about this? Because I read it. It's awesome reporting, getting scoopage. I like real scoopage. You know what I mean? Like how the news media and the news gathering and the news reporting and what's deemed to be breaking news, which is just things now that are showing up in a press release, 12 minutes later, released from the team. That's not real news breaking. This is actually reporting that Connor's got. At the same time, I'm asking you, Connor, Do you actually believe this on any level, or is this like, to use a parallel from my youth, when I was freaking out when they, on the 2020 news flash, they were saying that George Steinbrenner was threatening to move the Yankees out of the Bronx to New Jersey? Like, is it all just posturing, or does it feel to you like the Bears could do the unthinkable and leave Chicago?
I mean, I think it would be unlikely, but here's the way that it was kind of described to me. So you guys know me, I'm the most cynical person on planet Earth. And so when I hear this, I'm like, yeah, okay. And I think what someone had described it to me as is like, hey, this isn't just saber rattling. This is, the team feels completely out of options in that state, certainly in the Chicagoland city area. And they're just trying to push forward because they feel that Soldier Field it doesn't work for them anymore. They need to get something done. And so I think that it's certainly aggressive. I contacted the Colts and they said, hey, we wish them the best of luck. I mean, I guess they're going to be in Indiana too, but I don't expect it to happen, but I do think it's a little bit more than, I'm going to do this if you don't do what I want, because they've already reached that point, if that makes sense, the Bears, right? They've already hit that brick wall, and now they're just trying to look around. Yeah.
I remember, Dan, that 2020 news flash too. I think there was a threat by Steinbrenner at one point to move them to Danbury, Connecticut, which was just utterly absurd.
Right. That's kind of what this feels like to me. You're not going. What are you going to move? Literally the Bears to Indiana, and they're the Indiana Bears. It's can't happen. It won't happen.
How
right?
far is the drive from like Chicago to where they are thinking about moving, Connor? Do you know?
That's a good question. Let's pull up a map.
Like
All
when
right.
they
While you do
forced
that, let me
Chargers
get into
fans
this
to
game.
drive to LA, you know?
All right, let's dig in on this game. Mark, I'll start here. The Packers, are they doomed? Are they doomed now that Micah Parsons is on the shelf until next season? They will go, and the pop the hood metrics back this up. They'll go from one of the best pass rushing teams in the league, pure pass rushing, non-blitz teams, to one of the worst. The difference between that is how stark the difference will be with Parsons, without Parsons. Is that a death knell for the Packers in the NFC?
I still think that they're a quality defense, but it's just a completely different situation for your opponent. It's almost like when you show up to like Algebra 2 and there's a substitute teacher, you know it's going to be a much easier 40 minutes for you as a younger person. Like Micah Parsons is a top 3 player that has to put offensive coaches, players, preparing for a game or preparing for a pre-snap or during a snap as they move them all over the place. Like you're taking that out of the game. You're taking that out of the biggest pressure situation, and it makes things a lot more comprehensible for the Chicago Bears this week.
And vitally, Connor, like he is the closer of the Green Bay defense. And you take the closer out of the scenario, that really opens things up and opportunities up for Caleb Williams to do what he couldn't do when these teams faced off a couple weeks ago, which is finish off a game.
And I think, too, I think the biggest part of it is the way that Jeff Hafley aligns him. Basically, what you're doing is there's a ripple effect. You're allowing yourself to maybe put weaker personnel in better spots to be able to stop the run. And Green Bay's run defense improved, even though they didn't really put a lot of equity into that. And you're also taking a check off of Caleb Williams during the pre-snap process, right? Because when you get under center, that's the first thing you're doing. Is like, okay, where's that guy? And how is our protection slid towards that guy? And how much resources are we devoted to that guy? And so I think Caleb can probably play a little freer, knowing that this isn't going to happen. And Hafley's still going to throw a lot of tricks, a lot of stunts, a lot of stuff at him, but it's just not going to be as impactful. You can probably block all those guys up single man.
By the way, the Packers, it's not just Parsons when you're talking about their injury issues. Zach Tom, their right tackle, he's banged up. Christian Watson left last week's game with looked like a very painful upper body injury. I think he's practicing in a limited fashion, but we'll see about that. Josh Jacobs, the running back, banged up. We'll see what he can give them. This feels like Matthew Golden's back. How about a Matthew Golden breakout game? Because the Packers, what makes their offense really difficult to contain and what Watson has brought to this attack is that downfield deep threat, big shot. And if Watson's either not playing or compromised, maybe this is the Matthew Golden game, and it's the one that wins the NFC North for the Pack.
I think it's a good note. I mean, it sounds like Christian Watson, who has talked this week, has a chance to play. And it was like, are you going to wear a shoulder brace or something like that? And he sort of said, like, I think I can work through this. So there's hope there, but they're not alone. Like, the Bears have ruled out Luther Burden. They've ruled out Roma Dunze. Cole Kmet is questionable. DeAndre Swift is questionable. Best running game in the league. So it's that time of year, but both sides are compromised.
By the way, it's like 40. You got to get there about 40 minutes. And don't reach out to me now if you're from that place and be like, oh, actually, it's like 28 with traffic. I don't give a f. I looked it up.
Drive.
I did the best
Right.
I could. Yeah. So it's about 40.
Borders matter, though.
Yeah.
If you like,
Could you move Pittsburgh? Could you move the Steelers to Ohio? Like, that people would freak out. You know?
Borders, state borders matter. If you grew up on a border, like it's you can't change the state. You could move the Bears to, a suburb like the 49ers did, and it's kind of shitty, but you could still credibly call yourself the San Francisco 49ers. You can't move the Bears to Indiana and call yourself the Chicago
you're literally
Bears.
a New York Jets fan, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, the Jets, and that's been part of their identity issue. Were you aware the Jets have an identity issue? You can't do it.
Well, no, I'm saying both of those teams literally play in the Garden State. So
Right. And it's
that's not a news update
great.
for you.
Right. No. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. All right. That
Well,
is
a
not a
younger
news
listener
update.
might not have known that. So
You've done it again, Mark. Let's move to another team. They don't play in D.C. Where do they play? Where
Maryland?
do the Commanders play?
Maryland.
No one knows. The
Landover, Maryland.
Yeah,
Landover, Maryland. They will be hosting an NFC matchup. The number 26 Commanders welcome in the number 12 Philadelphia Eagles. Davis and Olsen on the call. As expected, the Commanders did shut down Jaden Daniels for the remainder of the season. Marcus Mariota will take this thing to the finish line. For those of you that are in your fantasy semifinals, and good luck to you if you are, as I am, you want to fire up your Eagles matchup on defense. Okay. But at the same time, Mariota's done a really nice job, I think, keeping this from getting ugly for the Commanders this year. So while I expect the Eagles to continue to fatten up down the stretch here, I wouldn't be stunned if the Commanders put up a fight.
No way. Think about it. How many things have gone wrong for this team? Terry McLaurin not being in with them throughout the entire season. Bill Krosky-Merritt not exactly being what we thought. They're still 9th in the NFL in down by down success rate, which is crazy to me. And I think such a credit to the fact that the style of offense that Cliff plays, and it's got to be quarterback specific, but is still so unique that a lot of teams just have a hard time preparing for it and stopping the quarterback runs, stopping some of the other concepts that they do. So I'm not saying that they're going to go out here and outfox the Eagles, but I do think that they could put some points on the board.
Yeah, they're not last week's Raiders, and they play each other twice over the next 3 weeks. The one thing I know it was the Raiders, so you could take literally nothing from it, but there's been a trend of the Eagles using a lot more under center. They ran more plays under center against the Raiders than they have in half a decade. And they're 4-0 this season when they run 20 under center plays. And Barkley's average yards per carry have gone up by almost a yard. I just wonder, I think this is a team obviously still in search of itself, and they keep trying things and things just haven't worked kind of over and over. But it worked last week. It's a terrible team, but it's a trend that has worked for them in 3 other games as well. So do you continue that? Is that what you want to be going forward? It might help. This is one team I feel like if they can hammer Washington, doesn't this feel like a team that could use psychologically a lift week after week as they head towards the playoffs? It matters to go hammer these bad teams.
Yeah, it matters to win. They win the division if they win this game. So it's a t-shirt and hat game. And I think while it is absolutely fair if you're trying to handicap who's going to win in the playoffs to keep an eyebrow up at the Eagles as they beef up their record down the stretch here. Yeah, I think absolutely it helps just win games and try to put some things in the rear view, some of that regrettable, some of the, internal squabbles and the hope bunny and some of those ugly losses during their losing streak. You have a chance to distance yourself from that and once again separate yourself from the conversation. And talked about it last week on the show. People that were prematurely saying, oh, they're going to collapse like the 2023 team. No, they actually have a defense. And even they're going to miss Jalen Carter again in this game. Lane Johnson's going to miss this game on the offensive line. But the defense is going to keep them afloat. And to my last point on this game is, you have Saquon Barkley. Typically in offenses, play action works better when you're under center. So fucking play to the strengths of your team, right, and stop overthinking this. And maybe they have, with this soft schedule, an opportunity to really work in that element of their offense. We'll see. All right. By the way, there was a report out there. Jeremy Fowler reports that several executives believe the, quote, Eagles could look to move A.J. Brown in the offseason.
That doesn't come as a grand shock.
What did come as a grand shock in the power rankings, by the way, Connor, was that you moved the Eagles from 13 to 5 after beating the worst team in the world.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Well, because I had them too low at the beginning, and I had them, it's one of those things where it's like parenting, where your kid fucks up and leaves the Legos out and you step on him and then you yell. And then the next day you got to be like, hey, Dad shouldn't do that. And, just please put away your toys. And so I had to kind of readjust the way that I was treating the Eagles.
Little course correct.
Yeah.
You owned it.
Course correction. Yeah.
You owned it.
Yeah.
Dad
was angry, he didn't sleep enough, it was probably like what the damn like Commanders and Broncos went into overtime and he wasn't expecting that. Sure. And lost 45 minutes of sleep and I mean that's all.
In this equation, the Eagles are constructing Lego sets. Okay.
See how Connor owned that? Mark, you should look into that.
Why should I? What does that mean?
I'll just leave it there. I'm just going to leave. I'm going to put it there.
Leave what where?
All right, let's move to the early games. And before the quiet storm starts raging, let's get to the quad box.
Take a look at that. Really tight.
How does it go? It's like
God rest his soul was not a no look, but just an absolute piss missile right there.
Like the little metal thing.
I will It makes me sick in my balls.
Personally, I started with their high-waisted leggings and a cropped hoodie.
And I want that known.
Means to me.
I love his mustache.
Group of dogs
I love
playing
the way
poker.
he speaks.
Good for you. This team is DTF, Jim.
Put on your socks and tune in your
Of course, the mythical Pike Haken.
Hey, NFL fans, Kathy Bates here.
Jake Perfect.
Or
Respectfully.
oh man, 40.5 seconds. Someone's listening to the show for the first time right now.
And the last.
I guess it's only about 20
feast.
seconds for them because that's when they probably turned it off.
You got my dance in there, Justin. I appreciate that.
Had to. I mean,
Great
how
moves.
could we not?
Wow, 40.5 seconds. I mean, we're heading towards a point of no return. I'm going to, once again, underline it. It's like the guy in the movie that keeps on trying to warn people that the aliens are coming, and everybody's like, shut up, be quiet, you're crazy.
Don't
This is
interrupt my
not gonna end
comfortable
well.
life.
This is not going to end well.
No.
It's like, what is this? What is this coding? You don't understand. It's a countdown. I think that's what's happening here. Okay. The number 19 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7-7. At the number 16 Carolina Panthers, 7-7. Somebody's got to win the NFC South, Connor. Somebody's got to win the NFC South, and it's probably going to be the team that wins this game.
You would assume. Yeah. I don't know. This is such a bizarre thing that we're here, right? I mean, such a strange thing. I think in terms of quarterback with the most upside, you would have to say that we've sort of seen Baker's ceiling at this point. And it seems like whether it's matters of health or just the battery of a long season or whatever it is, I think we kind of know where his limitations are at this point. Could this be the Bryce Young legacy game? I don't know. I mean, there's been these performances that we've seen out of him where mentally he's off the charts and he's moving players with his eyes. He's diagnosing things pre-snap. He's making these brilliant calls. And then there's games like last week where you just sit there and you're like, you know, what the hell just happened? And so I don't know, like if you're betting on volatility, it's like, I think the Panthers have a chance to go berserk more than the Bucs do, but I think the Bucs are a better team. And I would probably bet on Tampa to win this game.
Sessy, if you are to tell me, or if anyone is to say they know what's going to happen in this game with these two teams, you're bullshitting, or you're a fan of one of those teams and you're just, you know, hoping against hope, or it's blind faith, because both teams have showed us periods of high level play. They've shown us that they could disappoint. They did that in both measures in week 15, but I still can't get over it. Listen, Carolina going to the Superdome and losing, it was a bad loss, but we've talked about it on the show. The Saints are better than people realize, and the young quarterback's making strides, and the Ellen Moore is doing the things that young coaches with promise do.
Ellen Moore.
But I will say
Ellen
this.
Moore.
That Tampa loss a week ago today is sticking to my ribs. And if it's sticking to my ribs, I can't imagine what a Bucs fan feels like or what's going on in that locker room. Now, if the Bucs have it in them to have that rage about how they blew one of the worst games you've seen blown in some time in primetime was that loss. Maybe they come out and right things. But like Connor said, like maybe we've already seen the best of Baker. That one of the biggest missed throws of the season was Baker missing an open Emeka Egbuka. You know, ever since that Gronk thing happened, now I stumble over the name.
I totally agree. He created a mental tick for many.
Yes. So like that throwing behind Egbuka late in the fourth quarter there was a snapshot of the issues that they've had, the lack of the theatrics that define the early portion of their season. So now losers of 6 of 8. I just can't get behind the Bucs flipping the switch.
I can't get behind either of these teams, but on the Bucs front, I totally agree, because I think for me, they've lost 5 of 6. Let's start there. Like it just simply what has happened from the win-loss column. They've lost some heart-crushing games, but my excuse for a while was either Baker was hurt or everyone around him was hurt. But he's got all his wide receivers back at this point. The offensive line is healthier. And I don't think Baker Mayfield has played at nearly the level that he did in the first 7-8 weeks of the season when he was being talked about as a potential streaming MVP candidate. That's not this offense right now. And the defense has fallen apart. The Todd Bowles defense has fallen apart. The one thing about this division, and then I'll throw it to you, Connor, it's just that they're both 7-7. Carolina, this is another scheduling tick where they play each other again in the final week of the season. But Carolina has to go deal with Seattle next week before they play each other again. Tampa Bay has Miami. So this does not decide the division, but it's like whoever wins this is absolutely in the driver's seat. But I need Kathy Bates to explain both of these teams to me. Come on, Lady Matlock. I don't know what these teams are, and there are 2 terrible divisions in this league, and it's the AFC North and it's this division. So I don't even know what winning this division means in the bigger picture of life. Not much.
I think that this game centers
Hey, NFL
around
fans, Kathy Bates here.
I think that this game centers around the inside run game in Carolina or the Buccaneers' inability to stop it. So Levante David's getting healthy in Tampa, and so it unfolds, I think, in either one of 2 ways. We get the classic, Levante David and Todd Bowles team up for one last brilliant defensive performance, and Levante David's all over the place, and he's putting some pressure into the backfield, and he's helping stop the run, or Carolina just absolutely mows them down in between the guards. And Tampa Bay is, I think, the 28th best run defense in the NFL on inside runs, and the Panthers, one of the better inside run teams in the NFL. I honestly just think that this is where it starts and ends.
Yeah, I think Todd Bowles is cooked if they miss the playoffs. I think we've seen enough regression on defense and just the frustrating nature of this season that I wonder if ownership is going to think about a new voice.
Is Arians still there?
Bruce?
Because that's his dude. I mean, I just think that Todd Bowles
he probably has a cot in the third level, but I don't imagine he's part of the football operation.
Tom Moore is there, though. Our buddy.
Bruce Arians is still a senior football consultant.
It just seems like that whole gig. It seems like an Elks club down there, and I don't know if Todd Bowles, he might be in a different situation than some other embattled coaches.
It's funny what a couple of months, how things can change, because we were talking about the Bucs as a Super Bowl team a couple of months ago, and now it's like, is that a country club over there? Hey, they running a country club over there? One of those things. Mike Evans needs to average about 243 yards per game over the last 3 weeks to get to 1,000. So keep an eye on that.
Put a wager on that, Justin.
Yeah. And I was just looking at his numbers because I wanted to see, because he has it 11 straight years. I wasn't sure if it was 10 or 11. He, the dramatic last play of the season where he got to 1,004 last year. Just a fun little note. In 2020, he had 1,006. So they went hunting for that number again. 2017, he had 1,001 yards in 15 games. So they went hunting for it there. So they have worked very hard. 2021, he only had 1,035 yards. Like, he's had some very close calls during the streak. But I don't think he's going to get to it this year.
I think also 1,000 yards from a wide receiver in today's NFL is not what it was in.
I'll say this: he was a dude. Of all the bad things that happened on Thursday, wasting Evans coming back and being a difference maker, mossing cornerbacks, having that huge game. It bodes well for their offense, but still, I can't believe they lost that game. I still can't. All right, Connor, one more point.
One thing to just put on our radar: this, out of all the teams that are left that have a chance to work their way back into the playoffs after everyone talking shit about them for the last few weeks, Tampa Bay is by far would be the most annoying team to weather the criticism and make the playoffs. So I'm just putting that out there. So
I feel like we're steaming towards another Eagles-Bucks wildcard showdown. Yeah. All right, let's move on in the quad box. Mark, where are we going next?
Okay, I think we'll go to Chargers at Cowboys. The Cowboys with a 1% chance to make the playoffs. We are looking at the number 11 Chargers in our power rankings. The Cowboys sit at 17. I don't know. The Cowboys are a little depressing to me, but I want to watch it more for what I've seen from Justin Herbert the last couple of weeks. This is a little ridiculous, but I hear people saying that he's a MVP candidate. Like, a lot would have to happen.
Who?
Like a couple people would need to be kidnapped for that to be true.
Justin Herbert's mom? Like,
it wasn't his
serious?
mom. It's just, I think, people trying to be edgy.
Yeah, but who are these people? Who are these people, Ceci?
I just saw like stuff on Twitter and X. It wasn't like someone was like making a massive case.
Okay.
I will say this though about him, like he could be playing behind like the worst line in one of the worst lines in the league right now, and it hasn't gone to plan. They were battered, and just to see the way he fought against the Chiefs down the stretch, like I do think that he's proving a point that in different and difficult conditions, he can be who he is. And I get the Jim Harbaugh like love fest a little bit more than when I thought it was a little bit more hyperbolic early in the season. This is a type of team that's just gut out low scoring games, I think. There is one thing here. I do think they want to run the ball. Omarion Hampton, Kamani Vidal, like this is what they have to be at this point. And Quinnen Williams, concussion, may not play in this game. That would be a game changer for what they hope to do against the Cowboys defense that has pretty much fallen off a shelf.
I like this one. I mean, I just think like aesthetically, it's going to be an enjoyable game. I think that Dallas still has a lot to play for, even if they're, whatever it is, 1% chance of making it to the playoffs. Brian Schottenheimer's trying to hold on. I think he's got, his offensive coordinator could be interviewing for head coaching jobs. So I think that there's a lot there. And I do think that, they've had the manpower to knock off some of the best teams in the NFL week after week. It just depends on who shows up.
Yeah, we've sung the praises of Schottenheimer this year, but you got to get on him a little bit that this team fell off hard the last 2 weeks, especially last week. You can't lose that Sunday night game.
Just freaking, try to shove it up their ass.
Yeah, it happened to them, and it cost the Cowboys their season. So now you just have to see. This will be another test for Schottenheimer. Can he keep this team motivated and fighting hard to the end of a season that is all but lost now? And yeah, to your point, the Chargers, they find a way. They muck things up. They keep the games low scoring. Can they do it in Dallas? I think it's a good test. The Chargers are going to the playoffs, and they'll be facing some high-powered offenses. The Cowboys are certainly that. But I'm at the point now where almost every week I think Los Angeles is going to find a way to get you to play their game. And if the Cowboys find themselves in a low-scoring game, Brandon Aubrey notwithstanding, I like the Chargers. So maybe, though, every once in a while, you know what I could use, though? Because, by the way, just so everyone knows, Twitter bots or whatever notwithstanding, he is tied for 6th with Sam Darnold in the MVP odds right now in Vegas. I like that occasional Herbert spike week where he's airing it out like Dan Marino. Like, that'd be fun. Like a Herbert. Yeah. I don't know if the offensive line will allow it, but like you said, if Quinnen Williams doesn't play, maybe the makeshift line can. That'd be fun. Like, because I don't, as much as I respect the Chargers, I don't love their games necessarily aesthetically. Like, I'm not circling this game and being like, I can't wait to watch this game unless we get a Dak Herbert shootout, and then it gets fun. But
Herbert hasn't crossed 250 yards since week 7. So they are a different type of offense than they were before these injuries.
All right, up next in the quad box, what do you got, Connor?
So not very much to choose from here, but I'm going for quite possibly the worst game on the surface, but major draft implications. And I think, Dan, you alluded to it on Twitter. I was a little interested in this conversation. And that's the number 29 Jets at the number 22 Saints, Tom McCarthy and Ross Tucker. If Aaron Glenn gets his ass blown out in this game, could we be legitimately start talking about a one and done situation there? I don't know.
If Aaron Glenn gets his ass blown out? I don't know. I like that choice. Yes, I want to.
Saints are on a heater, by the way. Like,
Saints,
they've knocked off the top two teams in the division.
I think it's a conversation to have, and I was a little slow to have it in my own brain. I'm going to give Florio credit on this because Florio had one of his Florio speculation posts, and I was like, oh shit, why didn't I think of this? Like, when it was a little unusual looking back that Glenn would fire his defensive coordinator with 3 weeks to play, because that's as we talk about in the show, that is a lever flip that you can use in January to appease fans, appease ownership. I don't think Glenn does that unless he's worried that he could lose his job if this season ends the way it's been going the last 2 weeks with them being non-competitive, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So that tells me Glenn internally is feeling a little bit of heat and is worried about his job, and he's hoping that. And here's the other thing: you take, when you make that decision, you do leave yourself open because it might not get better, and the schedule isn't great for the Jets down the stretch. So I do think it's possible that Glenn could go if they keep getting blown out here. And personally, I've never, since the season started and started to take shape, I have not been a Glenn fan, and I wouldn't be against it. And you look at a lot of the teams that are successful in the league, what is the thing that keeps popping up? It's the young, offensive-minded play caller that you kind of say, oh, I'll give you a chance, Shane Steichen or Liam Cohen or insert guy here. Like, I want the Jets to finally go back down that road. So I'm not rooting for the Jets to get blown out, but I thought it was instructive, the decision he made and what that might mean about the things he's hearing in his own building.
One thing that I think a possible secondary reason for that, and not to refute Florio, I do think that he's definitely got an interesting idea there. Chris Harris, I think, is on a lot of short lists and has been a lot of years to be a defensive coordinator. And by promoting him at that point, you can now prevent him, I think, from flying the coop in the offseason for another defensive coordinator job, because it would be a promotion. So I think let's see if this guy can cook over the last 3 weeks, and then that way we won't lose him to another head coaching or defensive coordinator job somewhere else.
I mean, Glenn was brought in to change the culture, which is such a tired thing at this point for these lost teams. Like, I mean, three of us here follow teams where you hear that every time they hire a coach, but like, there's no culture change here that I see. I understand and get up behind the mic and talk tough and tell you how great everything is, but it doesn't translate to the fan or the journalist or the observer when they look the way they look outside of their special teams. I mean, I would say that the coach who is doing that right now and might win out is Kellen Moore. Like, he's quietly shown, Moore. It looked terrible early on. It looked terrible, and they looked like they were the team that was just going to race to the number 1 pick. Instead, Like Tyler Shuck looks like a quarterback who is coached well, who is growing, who is developed. Like Kellen Moore, if you look back, is one of the major reasons that the Eagles won the Super Bowl and looked the way they did on offense a year ago. So Dan, I agree with you. It's like enough with these defensive coaches. And maybe it's just like you date someone for a while, so you go date a different type of person. But like, you don't want to lose a great offensive coordinator a year in to another team hiring a head coach if you're the Jets under a defensive-minded head coach. It worked back in '88. It's not working right now, and they've got to figure out what they're doing.
All right. The Saints' remaining schedule is tissue paper: Jets, Titans, Falcons, and that's a good thing. That you can let the young quarterback continue to develop. Let's see what happens. All right. Who's next in the quad box? Let's go with Justin.
Yeah, this is the last one. Not a ton of choices here, so I'm making this pick for us based on what we have the most to talk about. And for me, that's pretty clearly the number 25 Cincinnati Bengals at 4-10, eliminated from the playoffs. At the number 23 Miami Dolphins, 6-8, also eliminated from the playoffs. So not a ton of like playoff or draft implications on this game, but two little quarterback nuggets we can talk about, a lot of Joe Burrow drama we can talk about. I don't even care about this game as much as I care about the future for both of these teams.
That's a good pick. I like this pick too because I want to see Quinn Ewers. And I know that's a Justin, Texas little fantasy there, but I think the downfall of the Mike McDaniel era was that they never had a quality drafted quarterback that could challenge Tua in the room. They drafted Skylar Thompson in the 7th round, and they drafted Quinn Ewers this year in the 7th round. But Ewers is like a former like All-American, like number 1 high school player, and sometimes you just kind of find your way and you get lost in the forest a little bit. If he can come and at least operate the offense functionally, that's another Mike McDaniel job-saving moment for him. And so I don't think this is insignificant at all.
And it tells you something that they did the thing where they just moved Tua to the 3rd string emergency quarterback. Like they're shutting him down.
It's over.
Right. It's over because I don't know if Mike McDaniel stays or not. Like there's no way to run this back. And so it's over. And, people are talking about the idea that maybe they cook up some sort of, because there's like $99 million in dead cap, whether he is cut or traded. So it's one of those. Russell Wilson, I think, had 83 million when that whole thing went down. So you can survive it if you go draft like the right quarterback and have the right coach. But that's two massive variables in the NFL. So, they're in a weird place. They could be 2 years away from even recovering from this disaster.
Oh yeah, when you give out that type of extension to that quarterback, it could set you back half a decade. I guess I'll walk my take back a little bit on that. I think McDaniel goes, and then they're going to hire a GM, and then I would imagine part of that process is like they're going to want to hear out, what do you think about Tua? Because of the cap ramifications, maybe you end up interviewing someone who says, I can make it work. I think there's something here.
Better than Mike McDaniel, though? That's the thing. Like Mike McDaniel probably did as well with Tua as anyone could if you were really thinking
I don't know.
real.
What is that? What does well mean? I know he had some good statistical years, but they never won a playoff game or anything. But I know what you're saying. I'm just saying, I would imagine that's part of the conversation with anybody you interview, unless ownership is like, I hate Tua now, and he's gone either way. I think it's very likely Tua has started his last game for the Dolphins. We talked about the other day, by the way. Zach Wilson's fine being a backup. Like he's just posting Instagram photos of his young wife and living life in South Beach. No, they asked him about it. He's like, yeah, I've been the backup all year. And then, I thought I was the number 2 quarterback, and then they benched Tua, and then they didn't give me the job. So he's still got some competitive fire in him. Don't judge a book by its cover, I guess, is this. Zach Wilson's furious, Sussy. All right. By the way, on another episode, Joe Burrow used to compete for Super Bowls. Now he's the star of The Bold and the Beautiful. He was asked if he ever envisioned playing for another franchise by a increasingly unsettled Cincinnati local media.
Is there any world in your mind where you're not the quarterback of the Bengals next year?
I can't see that, no.
Have you ever thought about the possibility of not being the quarterback here during your career, or
You think about a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of crazy things happen.
I'm going to pound the table on this. I told you I never believed that he was going to retire or pull an Andrew Luck. I think he's a competitor. I think he is absolutely greasing the skids here for the biggest story of the offseason. I think Joe Burrow wants to get the hell out of Dodge, and everything he says, Connor, are things that he doesn't have to say. And when a quarterback who knows the glare on him is that bright is choosing to answer things that way, it's not an accident. True or false?
True to some degree. I just think we need to figure out what he wants, because the Bengals have done nothing but give him what he wants to this point, right? I mean, and I get that they have a reputation of, not spending or whatever, but since Zach Taylor's been there, they've finished top free agency spending, I think, twice. They sold the naming rights to the owner's stadium that bore his father's name so they could generate some cash to help pay for his contract. They signed both of his top wide receivers because he asked them to, wasn't really financially responsible. And so at this point, I don't know if Joe has one more domino that he needs to fall here or what it is, but I can't wait to see the end of this game of Chinese checkers.
I totally agree. And Dan, I think you're right that he seems setting up something. I don't want to judge these players in these press conferences too much, because it's been an awful season, and he's been through an injury. He's been through 2 games in a row where he is big part of the reason they lost, and I think he bears that responsibility in a heavy way. But these checked
also the
out.
Batmobile, Mark. Don't forget about the Batmobile.
The Batmobile was a factor, but I don't want my multi-millionaire franchise-altering star quarterback to look this checked out. These press conferences remind me when you first smoke pot with a bunch of friends and you're kind of talking about life in a slow, languishing way. It's just answer. You are the starting quarterback and the North Star of this team. I'm kind of a little over Burrow right now. Go away.
I will speculate on what I think Joe Burrow wants, which is
Justin.
I mean, pure speculation. I think he wants a new head coach. I think personally, and this is just me, that Burrow and those offensive weapons, Jamar Chase, etc., have kind of carried Zach Taylor a little bit. And there was a long time where we were all, as a community of media people covering the league, kind of wondering, is Zach Taylor really good or not that good? And then the Bengals go to the Super Bowl on the backs of a defense that forced at least 1, if not 3 turnovers in almost every playoff game on that run that got them to the Super Bowl. And then they fire that defensive coordinator after last season. It's just I don't know. I think if you bring in a new head coach, you get a renewed psychological Joe Burrow. Maybe I'm crazy.
And Zach Taylor's record with Burrow is not very good.
I can buy that, Justin. So what I'm saying is what Burrow's doing is calculated and for a reason. And whether that's to get out of Cincinnati, which is my preferred choice, or to just get a new head coach that he gets to pick and really steward the franchise, not just as the QB, but almost on an unparalleled level of Aaron Rodgers, when he went to the Jets a couple of years ago, level of power within the organization. I think he's you either put me in charge of this whole thing, because I get a feeling that Joe Burrow thinks he could run everything here, or I'm out of here. And I think that's building, and he's also an emotional guy, Connor. And I think some of this is a dude in his feelings a little bit, and he's thinking big things.
So I think 3 quick things. Joe Burrow is the offensive coordinator. So if he must know then in this game of chess that he's playing that the next guy that comes in is also going to allow him to be his own offensive coordinator. He has Peyton Manning-like power over this offense, and Zach Taylor allows him to have that. And that's a latitude that not a lot of quarterbacks have in the NFL. Zach Taylor's contract runs through 2027. Mike Brown is not the kind of guy that cuts ties early. I checked in on this actually earlier this week, and everybody kind of told me it would be out of character.
And Burrow knows that too, Connor.
And
Burrow knows that too.
Look at Marvin Lewis, please.
And the third thing is, and the only thing that I could think of that might make all this make sense and tie it together from a Burrow angle is, who's the one offensive play caller that we're pretty sure is going to get a job this cycle because it's a down year for offensive play callers. It's Joe Brady from the Buffalo Bills, who was Joe Burrow's offensive coordinator at LSU when he won the national championship. It was Joe Brady of the Bengals or of the Bills. And so is Joe worried that Joe Brady is going to get a job and that he wants to force this move before Joe Brady signs with another team? I don't know.
Well, Marvin Lewis is an idiot.
Well, how about the Jets hire Joe Brady? How about that? How about we do literally?
We know the end game is you want him on the Jets, and I get that. But what if he winds up? What if he winds up in Miami?
He could. I mean, he could. He could end up in Los Angeles with Sean McVay if Matthew Stafford retires. I think.
Well, see, that makes more sense.
This
for
is
him
a man heading
career.
towards age 30 who I think is thinking about things. Let's take a break. When we get back, the primetime games. All right, we are back. All right, let's hit those primetime games. Let's start with Sunday Night Football.
Oh, Sunday night.
Thank you, Carrie. I love it. Number 6, New England Patriots, 11-3. At number 15, Baltimore Ravens, 7-7. You couldn't ask for a better setup here, Mark. You could not ask for a better setup because you got the Patriots humbled, stinging from that loss to the Bills when they blew a 21-0 lead. By the time this game goes down, the Bills will have already played against the Cleveland Browns. And let's say they win, as I would imagine they're heavily favored to do. The Patriots know there is a lot of pressure on the road in a tough environment against a Ravens team that we know is not the world beater of recent years, but is maybe finding its way with Lamar Jackson getting perhaps a little bit healthier. So yes, where we were 2 weeks ago when the Patriots are rolling through the tomato cans, this is fun because now you get Mike Vrabel's team facing adversity in a very tough spot. And if they go to Baltimore and win this game, which I think they will, by the way, it to me, I know despite being a Patriots hater, it makes the AFC playoffs that much more interesting because then it's like, okay, this Pats team is going to be trouble for whoever they get in January. Conversely, if they bomb out, it makes you rethink a lot of things about them.
It really does. I feel like the Ravens are another one of these seesaw teams where what I do feel about them week to week is very, very volatile. I mean, it really can change. I do think in the last couple of weeks, what do we want the Ravens to do late in the season? Pound people with Derrick Henry, like just get the run game going. They've run for 406 yards against the Steelers and the Bengals over the last 2 weeks. And I thought that Derrick Henry made a big difference last week. I know they hammered Cincinnati. It wasn't about the score, but it was the style with which they took the heart out of the Bengals and ended their season a week ago that felt like the Ravens team I've been waiting for. This is a huge test because they're actually favored over the Patriots, which is, I think that's the Patriots are, because of their schedule and because of the fact that this is new, they're not being trusted, but they're in a high pressure spot 2 weeks in a row. And I do think they're the better team, but this feels to me like the Ravens looking to keep that journey going. They play the Packers and then they have that Steelers game to end the season. There's still a chance.
It's interesting to me that Baltimore used to always be that team where they were like the Naval Academy or whatever. That was just a team on your schedule that didn't look like anybody else in the NFL, which made them tough to prepare for. New England is that team now because almost nobody plays more two-back than New England. So your traditional, fullback, running back, or your two running backs in the backfield. New England plays more two-back than almost anybody in the NFL. New England's under center almost more than anybody in the NFL. The Ravens don't see a lot of that on their schedule in either of those cases, and they don't perform typically well against teams who play that way. And so I'm interested if, just by running that vintage in air quotes, like Josh McDaniels Patriots type offense, whether they've set themselves up as a little bit of an outlier. And that's sort of a hidden advantage because teams just aren't seeing that classic pro style kind of offense anymore.
I'm curious because the Bills, and a great job by McDermott and the staff, the adjustments that they made in the second half to really shut down Drake May. If you take out the one jailbreak touchdown run from Henderson in the fourth quarter. The Patriots did very little in that game in the second half, and I wonder if there's anything to take from that and any scouting that's going to be done. I'm curious to see, because as cold as the Patriots offense was in the second half, they were that hot in the beginning of the game against the Bills. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of there's a lot to take out of this game for both teams. And I know the Ravens, their percentage, like the Lions. And again, it's such a weird season because these are all these big time teams that you just assumed would be fighting it out for the top seed. Here we are in week 16, and both like the Lions and the Ravens, if they lose, they're pretty much cooked. So a John Harbaugh team, and I know there's some people, there's a little bit of like what we see in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, a bit of an exhaustion about John Harbaugh. It's like, is this guy just going to be here forever? Well, here's a big test for the John Harbaugh regime. You need to win this game. You need to underline that you still are a team that could be a difference maker in the AFC, and not to just dismiss us at your own peril. I love this game, and I think it's a field goal game. I think it comes down to the wire. But yeah, maybe it really is. Like I'm saying, I think I like Baltimore, and I think I like New England in this game, but I think it comes down to the last minute. It could be the game of the week.
I think it extends to Lamar Jackson too. Not to always make him the focal point, but this has been a weird year. And he had another week where he missed a practice with a so-called illness, which I feel like happens like 3 times a year.
Every year.
It's like you want to see Lamar Jackson be Lamar Jackson, and we may not get that this year. And so you want to just find a way to eke out the victory. I'm with you. I think it's going to be very close, very tight. You know who I think is going to win. We talked about it on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll save that for the blind locks, perhaps. All right, let's move to the other prime time game, Monday Night Football. The number 7 49ers, 10-4 at the number 20 Colts, 8-6. Buck and Aikman get to talk about Phil Rivers. That will be fun. On the subject of Phil Rivers, and some of the discourse was a little predictable. It was like, it went from, isn't this crazy, to people getting their shots off, like how terrible Phil Rivers was. Like, yeah, he wasn't great. And when he had to try to drive the ball on that last possession, I think he was exposed a little bit. But it is what it is. He kind of did exactly what you would think he was going to do in Seattle, which is guide the offense like the 20-plus year veteran that he is, but not be able to push the ball downfield. Tom Brady, I just found this interesting. Tom Brady's a lunatic, right? You wonder what was going on in Tom's head in the last 10 days or so around this story. If it jostled anything in his brain. Naturally, he was asked about whether he thinks he could still do it in the modern era.
Would you be ready to go right now?
I'd whoop right now, to be
Would
honest.
you really?
Absolutely. I could go out there and play. Give me a month. I could go play with anybody.
So there you go. That is Brady on the big podcast with Shaq. Off a question from Adam Lefko. Sess, you buying into that? Do you think Brady would do better even than Rivers did?
Well, I think Brady is the one quarterback that never really physically broke down. He still looks to me to be in tremendous shape.
He wasn't very good his last season, though. He really wasn't.
Well, are we saying he's pumping himself up verbally? Very good, the version of Tom Brady that we're used to. But I think he would look different physically than Phillip Rivers did. 5 days ago.
He's in better shape for sure. By the way, I'd whoop ass right now, is what he said. So that's not like I'm a game manager throwing checkdowns, Connor. But anyway, I don't know.
Can I just push him aside and talk about one very quick thing that I'm very excited about in this game? Okay. The fact that Phillip Rivers is going to play against the 49ers defense quite possibly without his right and left tackles. And I believe one of them would be making a second career start and one of them would be making a first career start, protecting both sides of Phillip Rivers against a Robert Saleh defense. And the B part to this, though, that I think is really interesting is that since Fred Warner's gone down, the 49ers have struggled against the run. Again, they're a light box team. So what if Jonathan Taylor gets rolling in this game and then Phillip Rivers starts throwing some play pass and starts lighting it up a little bit? I think this game can get so weird in one or two different directions that I'm very, very excited about it.
And unlike the Seahawks, the Niners, with 16 sacks on the year, are the worst in the league at generating takedowns. And so it's a different environment than going into Seattle and dealing with what he had to deal with on the fly. I just wonder with Shane Steichen, those two are a mind meld. Like a week later, does the offense, or have they changed or retooled the offense just a little bit to make it more comfortable for Phillip Rivers against a Niners team that can't rush the passer right now?
Anthony Richardson returned to practice in a limited fashion this week. I mean, I don't know what's going on. He said that he's
Stress
still having
unlimited.
some vision issues in that eye after the unfortunate accident involving a stretching band or whatever it was. If he's cleared to play, I'd get him in as soon as possible to get a look at him. But I don't imagine Anthony Richardson, when he had two eyes that were like at a high level, was a problem. I wouldn't race him back on the field either. But anyway, and it all depends. We're recording this after or before TNF tonight, but there is a path to the Niners winning the NFC West. And it starts with them winning a bunch of games down the stretch, all of them perhaps. So let's see if they can do it on Monday night against the Colts. And I am totally fine with the Colts losing out for obvious reasons. All right, let's head to the other ones. 90 seconds for the games that we missed. Let's start with the number 3 Bills, 10-4 at the number 31 Browns, 3-11. Eagle and JJ Watt on the call. I want to call this a trap game for the Bills. But I don't know. At this point, I don't know if that's what the Browns are at this stage. Their defense has definitely taken a step back in recent weeks, and it's possible the Bills, especially their running game, just balls out and blows out a Browns team limp into the finish line.
I don't see a trap game in the sense that, like, at this time of year, Cleveland's offensive line is shattered. Joel Bitonio, Ethan Pochik, Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin are all we don't know how many of them will even play. So, like, they're struggling to even patchwork an offensive line. The only Browns thing is Myles Garrett. He's 1 sack away from tying the record, and 1 half sack after that, or 1 sack from creating an NFL history. It's like they play the Steelers next week at home. I think that's probably poetically where you'd want that to happen, but it could happen this Sunday.
I don't mean to be like, I'm not trying to pick on Shedeur. I'm just saying, if you're Sean McDermott, like 2 or 3 times a year, you come up with a defining defensive game plan that changes the way that other teams play quarterbacks. And I'm not saying you're not going to work hard in this game, but like cook against Shedeur Sanders, embarrass Shedeur Sanders, and take that momentum that your defense had with a couple of those critical stops and just gas them up into the end of the season. Like, let's build this thing into an equal contributor that plays 2 solid halves and helps Josh Allen.
Up next, the number 18 Minnesota Vikings, 6-8, found their feet a little bit with J.J. McCarthy in recent weeks. At the number 28 New York Giants, 2-12. Albert and Vilma on the call. Yikes. Yeah, I think this is 2 teams in very different places because with J.J. McCarthy, what you really want, and you'd be thrilled, is to see him now put together another good game here and really build on momentum and take the Vikings out of what was a very dark place a couple of weeks ago. And I think he could do that. And why can he do that? The Giants stink. They're a total mess. They have an interim coach who's over his head. They have a bunch of guys injured. And even the thing that hypothetically would lead J.J. McCarthy to have a setback, like facing pressure, which he hasn't had much of the last couple of weeks. The Giants are one of the worst pass rushing teams in the league in the last month. With all that talent, it's an absolute travesty what's happened with that front four, given the draft pedigree and all that was expected of them.
Part of that, I think there is a mantra within the building to show that he can work with Justin Jefferson, who has in his last 3 games 22 yards, 11 yards, and 4 yards. Like, let's show that can work. And this is a game where you could put that on display.
I just hope it's another great week for 9, baby. I think if you take all quarterbacks, minimum 100 snaps, since week 12, I want to say, he's actually climbed his way back into the top 10. And it's like a weird Ryan Fitzpatrick inefficiency where he's somehow like an EPA god, even though he's had some of the worst games in NFL history. And so I'm all for the rewriting of 9 history.
All right.
EPA god.
Okay. We're going to buy back in on 9. Okay. I'll keep it open. I'll try.
I'm not going to talk about the team in Florida anymore. And so I'm readopting 9 as a new pet.
Okay. I got you. Good luck with that. Next up, the number 21 Kansas City Chiefs, 6-8 at the number 30 Titans, 2-12. Yeah, this is the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes. It's Gardner Minshew. Let's see if they play for pride or if they just totally lay down. Do you want the Titans to win, Justin? Here's Cam Ward, by the way, as he looks ahead to the future. He wants to have a voice in who the Titans hire.
I want to meet all of them. Every coach who's going to get the opportunity to come here, I want to meet them, have conversations throughout the whole process with them, because that's someone that I'm going to be here with, for that time.
0 star.
Let's not get ourselves too ahead of it. Like, that never happens. So I don't think you're going to get that privilege, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't think Cam Ward should have any say in the decision making. That's a ridiculous notion. But the idea that he's going to be around the building during the offseason and wants to like say hi and meet the candidates, like that's fine. If he's going to give his input, sure. Are they going to listen to it? They shouldn't. I hope not, but that's fine.
Yeah, there's a way to thread the needle with this kind of stuff. To your point, just let him talk. Go have a conversation. Cool.
Right.
What's the worst that could come out of it, right? And and then you don't have to listen to him. You could have your AirPods in when Cam Ward's giving you the breakdown of his conversation point, but just make it seem like you're listening.
But the problem is then if you allow him to have those conversations and then you don't listen to him, then you're creating a different thing, which is why teams don't allow quarterbacks to do this.
Right, I get that too.
Yeah,
he finished that quote by saying, like we cut it off, but he went on to say, whoever they hire is going to be the right fit, which of course is nonsense. They could totally hire the wrong guy, but he's going to say
the Titans?
what
No,
they are capable of that.
That's the one thing that I am certain of is that the Tennessee Titans will hire the right man.
Well, that makes one of us.
Or a woman, Mark.
Yep. It's one and the same. It's one and the same.
The number 24 Atlanta Falcons down cat. At the number 27 Cardinals care even less. Nettie and Quinn on the call. I just want to clear the path here for Kirk Cousins. We talk about like how there's so many quarterbacks that are failing, and you see some hot takers out there or some like think pieces. The NFL has a QB development problem. Okay, well, maybe it's just really hard to be successful as a quarterback in the NFL. Here's Kirk Cousins on a little conversation piece that's been building around quarterbacks and progressions and all this type of stuff. Listen in.
I can get on this soapbox if you want me to. Like, I can get on this because I lived the transfer. I lived the jump. Right. So I came into the league, even at Michigan State, it was you see coverage and you pick a side and you basically take 5 eligibles down to 2, down to your check down. And so you cut the field in half, and it was, I got single high, I'm going, outside the red line to inside to my back. And you're really only thinking about 3 eligibles because the other 2 over here were meant for split safety, and I got single high. And so it kind of protected you. And then sometimes you would alert that other side if you got pressure. So you'd be like, I'm working this route versus split safety or pressure. If I get single high, no pressure, then I work the other side. So that was everything was, single high, split safety, pressure, quarters, off, bump, man zone, all these things. But what happened was defenses got so good at disguising it that I would be so stressed going into games going, the whole game plan's built on, is it single high or split safety? And I can't see if it's single high or split safety. Like, these defenses are just making it muddy until I'm 3 steps into my drop. So coaches started to realize, like, if we ask the quarterback to do that, it's going to be really hard because defenses know that's the game we're playing. They're not going to let us play it. So then it started to become, let's just give you pure progressions and let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, that has its pros and cons. I remember when Kevin O'Connell was bringing a lot of pure progression reads back to him with me from LA back to Minnesota. It was like, whoa, like I got to get back to the dagger backside after already exhausting
what are we
this
doing
progression. Here? Like, that's a lot. I mean,
it's like Justin talking
I'm used
about
to kind
the
of
Titans.
simplifying it and cutting the field in half. So, had to kind of work through that and get to where that was more natural. And then there's a lot of positives of it too, where you're not stressing as much during the week about what if I can't see coverage, because you say, well, it's okay. I don't have to see coverage.
I'm going to stick to being a podcast host.
But it's more after the snap, where are they going, and I can just kind of
feel like
progress
that's
through. But there's no doubt with the way the pass rush is.
That's the route that works for me.
If you truly try to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to get sack fumbled a lot. So there's still a level of.
Is this on a loop?
Yeah, it's pure progression, but I got to rule him out pretty quick here so I can get to the backside because that guy's coming around the hump quick.
I'm thinking of like the guy in the newsroom that had to transcribe that. That was like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington 2.0. Total filibuster. Got us out of the segment, though.
It is a reminder how difficult that position is and how it's evolving. And a veteran like Cousins has seen a lot in his 15 years in the league. All right, one more game. The number 32 Raiders 2-12 at the number 5 Texans, 9-5. This is one of the. It's not inconsequential because it means a lot. If the Texans win the game, it takes them one step closer to the playoffs and a division title. But I am not going to sit here and get bogged down trying to explain how this game is going to be close, because everything we've seen from the Raiders is that it's much more likely we get another shutout of the Raiders rather than the Raiders somehow hang around in this one.
The Raiders are one of the worst football teams who have gotten worse consistently as the season has crept along that I can recall. Against the Eagles, they had their fewest offensive yards in a game since 1961.
Yeah. Yeah. It's rough. Here's Geno Smith. Well, I'll give Geno the last word on the season and what's ahead for the Raiders.
Everybody wants to win, and everybody's like, really urgent. So that's what we're pressing towards, is everyone being urgent and getting this thing turned around. And nothing happens in one day, 1 year. We would have loved to win the Super Bowl this year. That's not our reality right now. The reality is we got to get better, and we got to focus on getting better day to day. And anything else outside of that really is nonsense.
It's tough, man. When you're on one of these teams, it's tough. Just you got to get through the last 3 weeks of these like press engagements and try to get, compete. Try not. Hopefully you don't get hurt. It's rough. It's been a rough year in Vegas. All right, let's transition to the blind locks. Let's start with the standings. A big week for the Sess Dog because he was the only one that won in week 15. A tough setback for the rest of us. As a result, he's moved into a tie with Zuzzer at 8-7. Connor had a golden opportunity to put some distance between us, but he tried to take a heavy favorite and got burned on the double spread, which was just wonderful. I think we all really enjoyed, as did the audience, I sense. So here's Connor, knowing that Connor in week 15 was like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Like a loss so bad that you don't know if he can recover from it. So let's see what happens in week 16. And it's going to be a tough one. Let's look at the games again. If this is the first time you're checking the show out and you made it through the quad box, we can pick a straight winner, but if you pick a favorite that's favored by 5 or more, you have to cover double that spread. And there's a lot of danger, Sessy, on this board.
There is. I feel good about having picked this yesterday because my mind scrambles looking at these options. This is a perilous.
Well, what is your pick for those that maybe missed that?
Sure. So, Connor, yesterday we played a game, three truths and a lie, and my lie was crafted around the Ravens falling apart in so many words, and instead, because it's a lie, and I wanted to prove to these guys that I truly believe that my word is true, is that I am locking the Ravens over the Patriots.
I love it. I feel good about that. Although I did, we talked about it. I think that's a very close game. I think it's a coin flip game, but I like the Pats in that game. All right. I look at this board and I think there are wins to be had in a game like this by just seeing let's look where the dead ass teams are, right? And then the teams that have already packed up, like the Raiders, for instance. But what makes the blind locks a great game is you can't just hunt for dead ass teams because, for instance, okay, let's pick against the Raiders. What do you think the Texans? I don't know it, but what do you think the Raiders at Texans spread is? It has to be 2 touchdowns.
12.
So
12.
Do you think the Texans are going to win? Obviously, are the Texans going to win by 4 touchdowns? Maybe, but I don't know. I look at the Jets. I really want to pick the Saints this week. All right. But I think the Jets, with the third string quarterback and with people starting to buy into the Saints, I don't feel safe about that. I worry that we're going to have to cover the double the spread. And then I think, shit, what if Isaiah Williams runs back another punt? Can the Jets keep it 27-18? Yeah, they could. So I'm going to stay away from that. So I have to go to my backup plan, which is just going with a team that's great, a team that's at home. So I'm going to go with the Broncos at Mile High over the Jaguars. Another game that I think is close, but I think this is a very tough week to make a pick unless you're comfortable doubling up the spread.
This is the first week that I've thought about taking a team that I knew was going to be over the spread threshold, and that was the Eagles at the Commanders. You have the 3-point swing with the Commanders being at home, and then you have the Eagles wanting to display that offensive proficiency. Like, they're hunting for blowouts right now, like Notre Dame at the end of the season, trying to get back into the playoffs. But I just...
Which they didn't.
They didn't, yeah. But...
Sorry.
But at the end of the day, I can't count on it. And so,
we're not playing in a bowl game either, so you could kiss my behind. All right?
Touchdown, Jesus.
Fighting Irish. You messed with the wrong team, mister. Okay, go ahead.
It comes down to me, to my faith in either the 49ers or the Lions being under that spread threshold. And I do wonder if Pittsburgh's recent swoon against Miami builds them up enough, and the Lions are on a down week after the loss, that the spread is under control there, and I can take Detroit at home. Am I going to be right under? Can I tickle right under that spread? I don't know, but I'm going to try to tickle one more week. So
I mean, you want to tickle your tongue, or what was it? Tickle the tonsils a little bit. That feels to me, God, I think you might be good though. That's a good call, because that looks to me to be 3.5 to 4.5 potentially. But we've been surprised before.
Mm-hmm. I've been burned in the tickle game. So yeah.
Do you feel good about the Lions winning by double digits? This Lions team, that would be potentially catastrophic for the old Ormeister. All right, Justin. What do you got?
All right. Last week, I locked the Green Bay Packers against the Denver Broncos. What a stupid thing to do. This week, I'm going to lock the Denver Broncos to continue their win streak and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick.
That is solid.
That is a solid pick.
Well, that's what I picked.
That is also solid.
But no, it's like, that's a little weird. Like, I picked the Broncos. Nobody says shit.
Yeah.
The producer picks the Broncos. Oh, unbelievable work. What do you think, Mark? Oh, yes, that was a tremendous lock. I see what's going on here. This is a conspiracy.
Did you even go yet?
Did I even go yet?
Yeah, I don't recall you doing that, but...
Am I on crazy pills? Did I go, Justin?
We should gaslight Dan into not thinking he picked just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
No, you did. He did pick. Yeah. I just don't think the gravity of it hit me just yet. Do we?
That was like again, another Truman Show moment. I was like, uh-oh, am I in a different reality?
Dan, what you pulled off there was
no, it's too late, Mark. It's too late.
It was
you didn't even think I picked.
Well, to be fair, behind the kimono, pulling it open, like I was in the middle of texting something to Justin that we needed to correct. I was in my show notes. So,
all right, let's just move. I missed my Christmas
greatness.
Is ruined. It's over. All right, let's see. Let's now. My Christmas can be saved if Connor has to double up with the Lions. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Holy fucking shit! What?
Yeah!
2 weeks in a row.
Connor is f***ed. The Lions are -7. Holy
-7. Jesus
goodness.
Christ.
Wow.
Oh, baby.
Hold on. Where is Justin getting these odds?
DraftKings.
Connor, it does show that you did not look ahead of time. Your valor is intact.
Oh, man, that is...
Is everyone else looking ahead of time? Am I the only asshole that's being surprised?
No, but just that you took a chance there.
Damn it.
The Lions at home.
How the fuck are the Lions favored by 7 and the Broncos are only favored by 3? How the fuck is that possible?
Oh, man. Wow. And look at that. The Saints are 5.5. So my instincts were right there.
Yep.
Denver's -3. I'm safe. Mark, you have
fucking shit.
I'm good.
You have Baltimore. That's -3. They're favored. I'm a little surprised Baltimore's -3.
Not happened. Patriots get that 2 weeks in a row.
So yes. Also, Justin is Broncos. So we're both good there. Lock brothers. Justin.
Let's go.
By the way, you did, yeah, and just for the record, like Justin didn't even tee it up as Lock Brothers. Like it was just like it was almost like Justin didn't even.
Well, like he wanted the credit for it, and then he was gonna,
yeah. Or
nothing can be. There's no way that this segment could be better than to have Connor absolutely furious as we exit it, and Dan feeling slighted. Like everyone's weekends are off to a great start. So
yes, and Mark did say that thing he was texting was to me. So like I have notes here. I have Mark locked Ravens, Connor locked Lions. I had Dan locked ?
Right.
JG locked Broncos.
We'll
so
move past it. We'll try.
And just to put a bow on everything else, the Houston Texans are favored by 14.5.
Right. So if you want to go get an easy W against the Raiders, you would have had like they could win 28-0 the Texans, and you don't get your lock. Like that's what we're dealing with that game. All right. Wow, Connor. That is an outright disaster for you, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with that.
This is like Rory McIlroy in the back end of the Masters, just like like one bogey and then another bogey, and then all of a sudden mentally I just completely fall apart and stop picking games altogether.
Or they win 34-10.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to need. You're going to need a total blowout. All right, that's it. Thanks to everybody for checking the show out. Remember, all the games that we just previewed, we're going to recap on Sunday night, the flagship show. And if you want to see the games that we draft, you want to talk about another high-level competition over there on the Patreon, check that out, patreon.com/heedthecall for our Week 16 draft. That will go up on Friday morning. That's it. Until next time, do what you must. Heed the call. Here's the issue, Mark. You and I are aging, and that it's hard to stop that.
Nope,
you know
it's
what I mean?
Problematic.
So we can't do the things like we used to do, which is like, stay up late at the bar, then go get a burrito, and then wake up 4 hours later, and everything's fine. We need something. How about this, Mark? How about what I've been using? Terra Origin, because adulthood, it's hitting hard. We're dealing with it. Middle-aged guys. My knees hurt. I hurt my wrist the other day. I punched a door. Shouldn't have done that. And now my wrist hurts. This is stuff that wasn't happening when I was young. So this is where Terra Origin comes in. Are you curious why I punched the door?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a different conversation. But if you've got Terra Origin, I'm sure that you're going to be able to get your way out of that mess.
Aaron Judge grounded into a double play. Anyway, Terra Origin makes science-backed, clean supplements designed to help men perform better, recover faster, and feel good every single day. They make smart, no BS supplements that actually help you feel human again. And that's why this is the product that you need. The best part about Terra Origin, no fluff, no fads, just premium, transparent formulas you can trust. It's like upgrading your daily routine from survive to thrive. So whether you're lifting, leading, grinding, or parenting, Terra Origin helps you show up at your best. Visit TerraOrigin.com and use the code PODCAST for 30% off your first order and free shipping. That's TerraOrigin.com. Terra Origin. Feel better from the inside out.
250 years ago, the United States Postal Service made a promise to bind the nation, connecting families, friends, and businesses near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. Because it's about more than just gifts and cards, it's the peace of mind knowing your love will arrive reliably and affordably. That's why they're building a better network to meet your needs this season, working around the clock to ensure timely deliveries, offering easy and affordable ways to ship, and providing everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer, from stamps to packages. This holiday season, trust the United States Postal Service to carry your most precious deliveries. Visit USPS.com/holidays to find tools and tips to help you ship with confidence. The United States Postal Service, delivering since 1775.